You actually um, have the honor of being the focus of our third topic this week because you actually highlighted very recently on LinkedIn and on Twitter how software companies need to actually have a concrete plan for considering how AI will enhance and disrupt their business. And I haven't checked the post in the last hour or so, but I know that you've gotten a ton of comments and really interesting conversation on LinkedIn specifically about this idea that specifically you mentioned that quote, if I was running a software company right now, I would be aggressively exploring how recent advancements in AI and the ones that are coming in 2023 could disrupt the business. Now, you give some tips in the post as well that we can walk through. But first off, I wanted to know, why are you writing this now, or why is this on your mind now?
Listen, we talk to lots of SaaS companies. I have friends who run SaaS companies. We have partners of ours for the Institute that are SaaS companies. Um, I built my agency around SaaS companies. So we've lived in that world for, I started my agency in what, '05. And by 2013 or 14, like 80% of our portfolio were SaaS companies. Like most of the work I did in the teens was for SaaS companies. So we've kind of been through a lot. We've seen a lot of cycles with SaaS. And the more I look at existing SaaS in our tech stack, so you think about the companies we use as the Institute to do what we do as a media event and education company. Um, if you think about the different software that we're being exposed to and the things we're learning about with generative AI and how transformative those could be. Again, if you just go back to last week's episode and you listen to the things we were saying, and then you have that lens when you're looking at software that we use as an institute today, it's all I can think about is like, wow, we're in a tough spot. Like so many of the software applications that we use, I could tell you how to build a smarter version of them right now. Like, I
Hmm.
mean, you and I do it all the time. Like, there's all these manual, repetitive processes in every workflow that we have to do our marketing, our sales, our service, our operations. And so you just think about all the software we use. I mean, we're a 5-person company and we probably have what 25 or 30 SaaS products that we use to run our company in all these different areas. And I would say I don't know, like 10 to 20% of them are legit AI technology. So we have all of this legacy software that's running our company that's about AI. Like we have an AI company being run by legacy software that has no intelligence in it. And so I think part of it is from just a constant awareness. And then as we were building the piloting AI courses, it became very top of mind for me. I was thinking a lot about that. And then just a number of recent conversations, because I also get into like VCs and private equity and angel investors. I have a lot of friends who are angel investors. I have friends who run venture funds. I have friends in the space. And then we follow a lot of like, the VC world on Twitter. Like I, kind of keep close tabs on what's going on there. And I know a lot of these people invested heavily in SaaS, rightfully so. I mean, it has been the place you made money the last decade. Um, and I've told of, different people in conversations like, hey, heads up, like as a friend, I'm telling you, take stock of your SaaS portfolio. Whatever SaaS you're invested in, make sure they know what the hell is happening because like 2023 is different and
Hmm.
they need to have a plan. And so after having said this so many different times in private conversations, I was like, this needs to be said out loud. Like, if you run a SaaS company or if you invest in SaaS companies, I really, and I've said it in different talks, like, I don't know how you have a business in 3 years if your product isn't infused with AI. So someone is going to come along and build a smarter version of whatever it is you do. I don't care what your software does. And I don't care if it's a point solution or a platform. The AI that we're seeing now and what we're going to see next year is going to enable a lot of different people with the vision to build smarter software to come in and take your market share. And so I think it was just one of those like spur of the moment. I mean, literally, I was typing that on my phone. Like we were waiting to go to dinner last night or something. And it was like I had this thought and I was like typing it out on LinkedIn and told my family, hold on a minute, gotta get this thought out of my head. So yeah, it wasn't anything like I sat around and set an editorial calendar and said, okay, on December 12th, I'm going to publish this thing about SaaS companies. It was just a collection of a bunch of conversations and current events that sort of led me to be like, okay, I just got to put this out there. Kind of like I did with the education thing last week. It's just,
Yep.
I don't know, sometimes you just have these thoughts and like dots connect in your head and you just want to say something. So, yeah, but it's not just software. I mean, that's a number of comments called out. Like, it's universal with software in particular. Like, it's just
Mhm.
so critical.
So I guess one point I wanted to add here or ask about is that, as part of your post, you had mentioned that SaaS businesses may not be able to handle the speed of AI advancements coming next year. So why do you think that is? I mean, it would strike me that some of these companies should be on the bleeding edge of what is technologically possible. I realize a lot of advancements have come out of nowhere almost in the world of AI, it seems, on how fast they've moved. But why have they been caught flat footed?
I don't think most executives understand AI, and I don't think the investors who have enabled them to build to the point they're at and understand AI. I just think understanding of AI is so limited across
Mm.
the business world right now that they just didn't see it coming. Like, and part of it is a lot of these SaaS products are great. The companies are great. They're run by phenomenal, brilliant people, and AI just wasn't their thing. Like
Hmm.
maybe it just seemed like to them too sci-fi or too abstract or just not a huge priority. And I mean, it's not hard. Like take the publicly traded companies, go look at their earnings reports. See how many times they mention AI in the last 2 years. Go to LinkedIn Sales Navigator. I think I've mentioned this kind of hack before. Like go on LinkedIn Sales Navigator and just run a keyword search for job titles of how many AI and ML employees they have in the company. And if you're talking about software companies with hundreds or thousands of employees and they have like 2 or 10 AI ML people, there's a really good chance that they don't value AI enough yet. And I think that's going to change. But I mean, I've never published this data. I've been running these numbers every month for the last like year of the number of AI ML people at these different companies and trying to monitor and see if there was a change, if we hit an inflection point where all of a sudden you would start to see this increase across different industries or companies. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it's just 3 years ago, I could have heard an argument that we weren't at a point where you could truly commercialize artificial intelligence yet. We hadn't had the major breakthroughs in language and vision capabilities that are enabling what we're seeing right now with generative AI. And so I guess you could say, people were kind of busy trying to figure out the pandemic along the way and
Yep.
trying to deal with the economy. And it's not like CEOs had nothing else to think about for the last 3 years. But if
Mm.
you took the last 3 years to just survive and kind of figure out where the next round of funding was coming from or how to avoid layoffs, then you were doing important work, but you may have in the process, if you didn't have the right people on your team, missed what was happening with AI. And now you got to play catch up real fast.
Yeah, I mean, it's for anyone listening, please go read the entire post because the comment section, especially, you're going to realize how common this is happening across different industries, different types of businesses, and I think we're seeing a lot of people wake up to what you just talked about.